Problems. Yes, we must address the problems first of all. So, as you can see here, this is the rust rotation for January 16, 2026 rust store. Why did I cough like that? The rust store rotated late, and technically speaking, it's actually a Friday rust store rotation. If you understand abnormals at the moment, all abnormal skins at the moment are appearing at midnight. Well, that means the rust store has to appear before midnight, and unfortunately, it was 20 minutes late. So, what does this mean? Well, that means no abnormals this week. Look at the kitty. The kitty perfectly expresses the situation that we're in. We don't have any early barders this week. And that, of course, means no early insights to certain skins. All of the skins will become marketable at the exact same time. Even if the rust rotates next week, doesn't matter. All of them will become marketable Thursday evening, going to Friday morning, UK time, midnight, all right? So the reason I say it in such a way is because some of you are like Americans, South Americans, some of you might be in like, further ahead in Europe, if that makes sense to you. So basically, if you want to be able to chase after these skins when they first become marketable, you might want to consider watching me on my stream next week. Look in the description. You see links to all my socials. Look at my Twitch, all right? You will have to watch me next week because, of course, if you want to be prepared, we'll be chasing after all of those skins pretty much at the exact same time. So, okay, cool, understood. No early interesting barders, no abnormals this week. That very much is going to be a concern, right? So be prepared for such a thing. And again, if you want to get a good look at all those brand new skins, consider watching the rust rotation video. All the chapters are there. Easy to navigate. Let's switch over to here. So I can confirm the workshop has been fixed. And if you go to macro522.com, you can look at all the accepted skins and you can clearly see Neon Loot Room Door had a score of 96.5. It had an upvote to downvote ratio of 29.18 to 1. It had over 21,000 upvotes. So, yeah. Well, that's pretty interesting. So, if you've actually looked at the rust store itself, you might notice, hang on a minute, some of these skins have been waiting on the workshop for a very long time. I get the feeling Face Punch probably kind of forgot about the rust store and they quickly grabbed what they could. There's quite a lot of early picks here, I will say that. But we also happen to have quite a lot of interesting extra late picks from notable collections. I guess you could say it's a bit of a complete the sets, sort of. So, all right, cool. Some very interesting skins were picked, but is this looking as good compared to last week? You might recall, with last week, I said, you know what? There's a good few skins here that genuinely look like they're going to work out very nicely in the long term as investments. And, well, after doing the abnormal barders last night, or rather, the night before, anyway, I bought 200 of these Reptile Hunter tactical gloves. I bought 100 of these HellCore SARs. I bought 50 of the Space-Based Sheep Metadabadors, and I took a pop at it. I gave it a shot. I knew it was going to be a bit of a risk. I bought 30 of these volcanic rugs. And the reason why I'm perfectly fine to do so is because it's still technically post-Christmas. As you'll see over to here, lots of people are still playing Rust at the moment. Average player count still holding up very, very nicely. And next month, for February 2026, we have the naval update coming out, which is also going to be a bit problematic as well in regards to what type of Rust stores are we going to see. Well, I'll explain that in a second, don't you worry. So yeah, lots of people still playing. Prices are still holding up very nicely, as you'll see over here. So, all right, cool. Hope you're still selling your skins. I did not mean to press the spacebar. Sorry about that. Right. So let's switch back over to here. I bought quite a lot last week. I'll give you my quick reaction. I don't think this Rust store is as good compared to last week. Again, I'm talking purely in a sense of what's looking to be a nice investment, all right? Now, in terms of the skins we have, there's some pretty cool looking skins. And by all means, if you want to buy a skin because you think it looks cool, if you want to buy a skin because you think it looks nice, that's fine. Treat yourself, right? But in terms of investing, you've got to play it a little bit smarter. And of course, this is why I'd normally say, oh, just wait it out. We'll do the abnormal barders. No, we can't do that this week. But I will sit here and say, it's now, just past 7:30 in the evening for me. But just to kind of help you out, it's been about 19.5 hours since the Rust store rotated. Get a good look at these sales. Let's just refresh just to be a little bit more up to date. And as you'll notice, No Mercy Tactical Gloves, 9,000 plus subscribers. All the way down over to here, HellCore L96, just over 3,600 subscribers. So if I were to compare to the previous week, it doesn't look like we're going to see ridiculous sales this week. It looks like it's going to be a lot more calmer. But I think we're probably going to maybe just stick with barders this week. Again, please be aware, no abnormals. Every single skin will become marketable at the exact same time. which I think a lot of you are not going to be very happy with. 14 skins in total. Right then, so let's also be aware that over the course of the next several weeks, as we get closer and closer to March and April, well, that's going to be the Easter dip. So right now, it's still a very good time. Prices are up. It's still technically post-Christmas. But unfortunately, good times don't last forever. And prices will be dropping off eventually again. But then after that, it'll be the summertime. This is a routine thing that happens every single year. So you might acknowledge that early last year, we had a lot of people turn up, lots of people playing. Then it drops off as we go through February, March, April. Then it starts to recover as we go through the summer. And then, well, towards the end of the year, it actually worked out very nicely as well. September was really bad. The point I'm trying to get across is prices go down around March and April, and then it recovers as we go through June, July, August, but then it drops again around September, October, November. But then again, towards the end, it's the very end of the year. Christmas momentum. Oh, hang on a minute, didn't we just go through all of this? Because then, at the very beginning of the year, it's post-Christmas all over again. So, yeah, don't be shocked and surprised to see prices dropping off soon, and don't be surprised to see many prices dropping down real bad around March and April. So, with what we see here, I'm sorry to say, but I can't help but assume these skins will probably be susceptible to dropping off. But smart builders can still work out very nicely. It's just, in this particular instance, it's going to be pretty competitive. So, looking at all these skins, what do I personally think is the best investment for this week? I think it's Black Gold Backpack. And I could give you a very straightforward answer. Let's just quickly refresh over to here. Are we up to date here? Yes, we are. As you'll see, currently we have just under 5,000 subscribers. And of course, if we just wait another 4 or so hours, I think that's still going to be barely over. I think it'll be barely over 5,000 subscribers. And well, the point I'm trying to get across is, I don't think it's selling that much. All the better for that. But more specifically, it's a black backpack. Scroll, scroll, scroll. As you'll see over to here, with the first few initial backpack skins that we saw in Rust stores, they sold absurd amounts. This one did as well, though. But hang on a minute. You're in the positive, and it was higher in price about a week or so ago. What gives? Well, people appreciate black backpacks. Legacy Kevlar backpack in the positive. Scroll, 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 scroll. Training backpack in the positive. Scroll, 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 scroll. Pirate backpack 70% up. Oh, people appreciate black backpacks. Now, this right here, with it also not selling that much, all the better for you to rise up in price. But also, it's part of a well-established, interesting blackout alternative collection referred to as the Black Gold Collection. As you'll see there, that's a lot of green, that's a lot of positivity. Now, do you consider backpacks to be like clothing and armor? I know it sounds a bit silly to say, but of course, as you look at the hoodie pants, the tier 3, the tier 2, the boots and the gloves, you might notice that on average, all of these skins kind of did around like 20,000 subscribers. At the current rate of sales, with what I'm looking at here, it honestly doesn't look like it's going to even reach that. If I was to give you a very, very, very rough estimate, I think at best that'll probably reach about 12,000 subscribers. Will it still drop off around March and April time? Wouldn't be surprised, but based on what I'm looking at here, it's looking very similar to what we saw happen to the Reptile Hunter large backpack. And look at that now. That also sold not too much in comparison to the rest of its skins. And right now it's sitting there at $5+. Chances are it still slip and go down in price a fair bit around March and April, but I don't think that'll be go below its Rust store price anytime soon. So with what we see here, it's in a very, very interesting spot. And to be honest with you, if it honestly doesn't sell that much by the end of its 7-day tenure in the Rust store, by next Thursday, I actually might consider buying a few. I honestly think that's actually a very good shout. When it's the summertime of 2026, will you be rising up in price ever so nicely? Well, with a lack of skins, I think you might be doing a pretty good job of that. It's alright. Cool, 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 cool. That's looking pretty interesting. But what about all the other skins? It's going to be a bit risky, but I do acknowledge that there is a lot of demand for it. No Mercy tactical gloves. But first of all, let's just acknowledge this. The very first tactical glove skins we ever got in Rust was H-June's Twitch drop back in December 2025. Trust and Rust gloves. Oh, what? Yeah. So, when I first saw these, I can confirm to you, I was just like pairing it up with No Mercy. I thought, you know what? I just can't help but assume lots of people will be appreciating it because they can just instantly use it with their No Mercy collection. Well, lo and behold, we actually got like No Mercy gloves about a month and a half later. I will point this out, and I'm fully well aware. Tactical gloves, they keep your fingers nice and warm, but it gives you warmth from rust. I'm just being a little bit silly as I say it, but basically, can we please acknowledge that the No Mercy collection, the clothing and the armor, it initially started back in 2019. The hoodie and pants did about just under 10,000 subscribers. And quite some time later, we got the tier 2. That did about 16 to 18,000 subscribers. Then we got the tier 3. That did about 20,000 subscribers. As we look over to here, I'll give you a very rough estimate. I don't think that's going to sell absurdly. I don't think that's going to even reach 30,000 subscribers. Now again, maybe a lot of people might wait till the last second. Maybe they might wait till the very last second and buy a bunch of them. We'll see. But I don't think it's going to happen in terms of I don't think it'll reach 30,000. Very rough estimate. I think it might reach up to about 25,000. Let's also just acknowledge one thing. 25,000 might be a little bit too much in comparison to all of this, but look what we have here. No Mercy roadside gloves. Let's be aware, roadside gloves make you cold. But it also did 35,000 subscribers. That's a lot more in comparison to what we see here. And it's only down by about 20% at the moment. So this did recover quite a decent amount of its price. It's been around since 2021. I mean, I think a lot of people probably wouldn't mind these. And again, maybe a lot of people would be more than happy to just keep the H-June gloves. That's fine by me. I won't expect that many sales then. So if this ends up selling short, less than 25,000, I could see it having a pretty interesting future. But I also must acknowledge that we could see some more white gloves in the future. So let's just quickly showcase this. In the past, I have seen some pretty interesting white gloves being made, space suit designs and whatnot. But of course, I've also seen like Whiteout right there from Mr. MDE. So you never know, but come on now. I've seen the Polar Combat set from Micromorphous. I've seen Diaz with his Space Warrior tactical gloves. Like, I do expect to see some more white gloves in the future. Will that be a potential problem for the No Mercy tactical gloves? We'll wait and see, all right? But based on what I'm looking at right now, I can see that there is genuine demand, and I hope it slows down towards the end of its 7 days. So we'll see how it goes, but I do believe that might be better off as a buy order, which is unfortunate because no abnormals this week. Damn it. All right, cool. So looking at all these other skins, what's also looking pretty sweet, I kind of want to talk about the Dragonhorn sleeping bag. So again, acknowledge, not selling that much, and about like 5 hours time, that might only reach up to about 5,000 subscribers. That would mean, at best, it might only reach about 10,000 subscribers during its 7 days in the Rust Store. Let's acknowledge that sleeping bags, well, you might notice that all the glow-in-the-dark ones, they happen to go up in price ever so nicely when times are good. Can we respect that? So, okay. It's not selling that much. It's part of a well-established collection, which unfortunately isn't exactly super in demand, but then again, it's kind of been around for a very long time. Lots of very interesting, fully complete collections have come out that might have taken away all the attention. But if you've seen my Rust rotation video, I'm sure you'd agree this does look quite nice. I'm happy with how it looks. It's fine. It's a perfectly fine looking glow-in-the-dark design that stands out very nicely at night time. People clearly do appreciate a nice glow-in-the-dark sleeping bag, most likely for inside their base. I do believe that could actually work out very, 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 very nicely. But it's the situation with the barders, isn't it? Yeah. We'll see what becomes of this, but it is looking interesting, and the lack of sales only makes it look even more appetizing. If it sells less than 10,000 subscribers, I might have to consider grabbing a few. And again, as we go through March and April, yeah, it might drop off initially, but you should care more about how it's going to behave as we go through the summertime, all right? I can't help but assume it might be rising up in price quite nicely. And also, I just want to bring this up as well. Recently, we've had quite a lot of complete the sets Rust stores of sorts, and recently we've seen 2 of these been accepted now, the sleeping bag and the armored door. Perhaps the skin creator might consider making some more skins for this. Perhaps we might see some more skins being accepted in sort of complete the sets Rust stores in the future. We shall see. So that is looking interesting. If you want to counter my point, feel free to comment below, debate, but yes, it's looking sweet. Looking at all the other skins, I feel like now I probably want to talk about the Junkernaught sheet meta double door. But I do want to acknowledge one thing. The doors you see here, both of these doors you'll see, they also happen to have transparency and glow-in-the-dark. Now, the transparency they have, they don't really compare very well in comparison to other doors. such as like Brutalist Sheet Matador and Bombshell Sheet Matador. In regards to the garage door, we've got Bombshell, we've got Brutalist, the same thing, I know. But like, I have to acknowledge, look at that. This sold for $4, and for a very long time, it was struggling, it was suffering. This appears, oh look, now it's back up to its rush door price. What? Yeah. Look at that. So let me just quickly turn on my extension. Sorry about that, I should have had that nice and ready. All right, so as you'll see over here, this is now pushing back up to $4, but with its sales history, it honestly really wasn't doing that much. It existed, and that's all it basically did. So look at the USD price. You'll see that it's basically just 5 cents short from the $4. It got completely cleaned out. It got completely bought out. Look at that. But also, look at that. So only now is it going up. Is this actually going to retain? That's debatable. And it's this type of behavior where I'm like, you know what? Could we see the exact same thing with the Sheet Metadobador? Now, being very reasonable with you, I mean, last week I did talk about Sheet Metadobadors and their reliability. You might sit there and say, oh no, Hedge, you bought 50 of these? Oh no. Oh, that's tragic. You probably lost out now. No, I feel like in the long term that'll still work out quite all right. Even with that Sheet Metadobador appearing, and chances are a whole lot more of them appearing this year, I still feel like that space-based Sheet Metadobador is a perfectly fine thing to consider buying. Now, looking at this Junkernaught Sheet Metadobador, to be honest with you, by default, I think that'll also be a perfectly fine looking option. Now, chances are you probably have already invested into the Gingerbread Sheet Metadobador. I have done comparisons between these two. If you're like not sure what to think in regards to that, I do have a chapter dedicated to showcasing this. I do have a short video dedicated to comparing these, all right? Consider giving that a good watch. Figure it out for yourself. Do you believe Junkernaught is better? Do you believe Gingerbread is better? Do you like the Junkernaught's industrial design? Are you upset with the fact that the Gingerbread skin is a Christmas skin, which is technically going to be out of season throughout all the rest of this year until it's Christmas time? Well, that might be a bit problematic, but I should also point out this Sheet Metadobador also has a little bit of transparency in the bottom left side. There's like a grill. You can look down and see through it. And if you position this above you, based on how you might have your base, you might have some jump ups, you can see upwards through that grill as well. So that Sheet Metadobador actually has some interesting details, and you're only going to find out about it if you consider watching that or watch that. It's up to you. So, point made, it's interesting, and by default, I think it's probably a perfectly fine thing to consider jumping into. I'm just not sure if it's going to rise up in price that much anytime soon. I think it might be a bit of a slow sort of progress sort of situation. But acknowledging that, you know, the garage door's just been completely cleaned out, seems people are probably going to change their tune in regards to Junkernaught collection as of now. So, we can wait until Wednesday. We can see how many have sold. I might, especially considering technically right now it's still a great time to save Ruskins, I might buy a bunch of those because I do believe it actually could work out quite alright, especially in the long term. Perhaps I might need to do a special video showcasing Sheet Metadobadors and transparency. That might be pretty interesting then. Maybe we'll consider it. Right, cool. So Junkernaught Sheet Metadobador, keep an eye out, keep an eye on it. Not selling too ridiculously, but it probably could still end up selling just as much as the Gingerbread Sheet Metadobador. If it picks up the pace, if people become more aware of it, people will jump onto it. So, looking at all the other skins, what's Hedge feeling pretty confident with? I want to talk about the Thundergold Thompson. Thundergold collection right now, doing pretty sweet. It has been better, I will acknowledge that. The price have been better, higher, but still holding up quite nicely. And, well, let's also acknowledge that the MP5 did drop off. I went through this whole spiel already, talking about how the MP5, it's a nice white design. Other white MP5s of the past have worked out very nicely. Their prices are high. Well, you know what? I could say the exact same thing with Thompsons. So, a long time ago, we had the Glory Thompson. Well, that sells for $16 now. Wow. Scroll. You also might acknowledge that we have the No Mercy Thompson, $6. Wow. Scroll. Somewhat recently, we also happened to see this interesting constructed Thompson. Now, that was in the positive a good week or so ago. It's only slightly down in price. We also happen to have the Quarantine Thompson. It's up by $1. Wow! And recently, we did have the Dylan Zito Twitch Drop Thompson. That's a perfectly fine looking design. Basically, based on what I'm looking at here, and based on the fact that it's part of a fairly well-established collection, I can't help but assume, when the time is right, that Thompson will actually do quite okay. Like, pretty sweet. How many sales is it going to have? Well, if I could give you a very rough estimate, I think that will probably end up with about a very rough estimate. I think it's going to probably end up with barely, like, I think it won't I don't think it's going to do any higher than 15,000 subscribers, which is fine. That's like a very perfectly fine amount of sales for a Thompson. And, well, when times are good, I will not be surprised in the slightest if that bounces back up a bit. You might debate that if you want, but I do believe this will drop down a fair bit as we go through March and April. I do expect that. But the summertime for 2026, or rather, I should clarify, June, July, August, because I am aware some of you from other countries with different, like, seasons. So, yeah. June, July, August, I believe this is going to work out very, very nicely. And then again, post-Christmas 2027, January 2027, I do believe that'll be doing very nicely as well. So, cool. I can see a nice, interesting long-term prospect with that. But I do believe it will dip below its Rustle price. Perhaps you might just be better off with a buy order. But if you are looking for things to consider buying so you can continue selling some more things from your inventory, maybe it's not too bad of a shout. Looking at all the other skins, got to think about it. I think I'll talk about the Jackhammer. I'm not sure how many Jackhammers we're going to see this year. So let's just quickly point out we've had a decent amount. Last year we actually had quite a lot. 2 kick drop, twitch drop. Black Ops Jackhammer's doing very nicely at the moment. Almost 30,000 subscribers. That's the only one in the positive. These two right here, Isopram is ever so nice and shiny. Still down by a third of its price. Aviator, didn't sell as much. Doing okay. Only down by 10%. Looking at all these older skins, you might acknowledge that quite a decent amount of them are in the negative. So as I hop back over to here, this doesn't look like it's selling that much. This looks like it'll probably end up with close to around, well, I believe this will probably just end up with slightly more than 15,000 subscribers. Again, very rough estimate. I've seen the design. I don't know if everybody's going to go super wild for it. You might sit and say, but Hedge, it's a white design. When you look at it in-game, it's not like it's got like tons of white all over it. It's just mostly white sort of design. I respect it for being like a space theme skin, and props to skin creator Graphy. He's done a perfectly fine job. It's just, is this always going to be something people are going to gravitate towards? Or could we end up seeing more interesting jackhammers in the future that people might want to potentially use instead? It's definitely making me think. So, by default, I'd assume that it probably will still dip below its Rustle price, but I don't imagine it'll drop down that much. Let's also just look at all the jackhammers. What's the cheapest one? Let's acknowledge that. So, cheapest jackhammer right now, I can confirm to you, it's the gingerbread jackhammer. It's $1.24. Well, to be honest with you, that doesn't sound too bad then, does it? Nope. Both of these are Christmas ones. Wow. So then it ends up with Love Injector, a Valentine skin from quite a long time back. Well, that's about $1.50. So jackhammers do appear to be skins that reliably stay above $1. Okay. Maybe that's how we'll approach it then. Do a nice $1+ buy order. It's up to you how you approach that, but I'm sure you can see for yourself that was looking pretty solid. So, all right, cool. What's also looking pretty sweet? So I've got to sit here and say, I think I'm going to bunch up the 2 doors together. Yes, I will. So I'm expecting a lot more garage doors this year. I'm expecting a lot more armoured doors this year. 3 in a row. 3 rust doors, 3 garage doors. Oh no. Now also, let's acknowledge that we are probably going to see a lot of Twitch drops this year. We're probably going to see a decent amount of kick drops this year. If we do see another batch of kick drops, I do believe we'll start seeing a lot more general drops with the kick drops. What I'm trying to say is, don't be surprised if we see like a kick garage door. Don't be surprised if we probably see a kick armoured door. Alright? Please be prepared for such a thing. So it's mainly due to the fact that I worry we're going to see a lot more garage doors this year, and of course a lot more armoured doors. Let me also just quickly point this out to you and say, for the past 3 weeks, 3 in a row, technically for like the past month and a half, 6. All of a sudden, Face Punch really wants to see tons of armoured doors. And if we keep seeing more and more and more and more of them, well, they're not going to be so special anymore. There's going to be too many options to look at. Now, if you looked at this in game, I'm sure you'd be very surprised with how like bright it is. It's a very nice and notable, like very noticeable design. Trix did a very good, like lovely job with it. Glacial Visage is a fairly old but somewhat appreciated design. Yep, I'd like to see some more. I'm just saying. But yes, this was pulled out from 2.5 years ago. Face Punch actively picked out an armoured door. And I do believe we'll probably start seeing a lot more armoured doors. So this is just me maybe being a little bit cautious, a little bit wary. But the fact that they actively went to go pick out this makes me assume that we'll probably see a lot more armoured doors this year. And of course, that'll lead to problems. You might sit there and say, but this is part of the Neon collection. True, but look at all the Neon garage doors. Oh no, Well, that's down 14. That's down 31. That's down 29. That's been bought out. That's down by 35. Yeah. I'll give this a quick look, though. So it looks like it's just a buyout, and it looks like people have already started to list below its Rustore price again. Typical. So, yeah, that was just a quick sort of thing. So, yeah, seems people don't like labelling where everything is. Do you honestly want to have a garage door put up where your loot room is? Or, if it'd be a little bit fun, you could have it like at the entrance of your base. Anyway, I can't help but assume it's going to end up like the other skins here. Like, the most recent one that appeared, halfway through last year, the farm garage door. That was down by almost half its price yesterday. Whilst it has improved, it's still down by 35%. So that gets me thinking that, yeah, it's going to probably just end up like the others. So both of these two, questionable. I will sit here and say, Space Tour Locker, I do think you look very nice. And it's honestly, very nice to see you. I do believe a lot of people will be appreciating the fact that we have been seeing quite a decent amount of these space-themed deplorables being accepted. I should point out, they're not all the same collection, but I don't think people are going to care. So let me just quickly point out, we have these two doors. Last week we had the sheet metal double doors. This week we have the locker. I hope to see a few more. Like, it's a bit scattered. It's a bit like of a variety. But with the space station building skin, you do have some very nice deplorables that can be paired up with it. But I just worry how many lockers are we going to see this year. Because as of recent, we've been seeing a lot more. And with so many skins being accepted, it leads to a situation where the majority of them are down pretty bad. This isn't selling that much, but this also didn't sell that much. Uh-oh. So we'll see what becomes of this. Maybe we'll see a collection continuation, but there's problems in regards to how many more Rustores we have this month and what's happening in February. I'll explain that in a bit. So I'm a little bit wary, a little bit cautious, but hey, maybe a lack of sales could give it a nice boost. We'll see. I'd like to point out, Fault set, looking pretty sweet. Not selling that much, all the better for it. But let's also acknowledge that the Fault collection it isn't exactly doing super great. A weapon-only collection, only one skin's doing all right. The rest of them, not so much. Some of these have also sold like next to nothing, still ended up down pretty bad. But maybe you could be different. We'll see. Like, for what it is, SAP skins are in demand. People do appreciate them. But starting from like last year, suddenly SAP skins just went down in price real bad. In the past, they've been pretty reliable. They've been doing very good. But last year, I guess it's because we saw a lot of them. Suddenly, we started seeing them go down in price fairly badly, like down them more than a third, which was a very rare sight to see. So perhaps with a lot of skins being accepted last year and the possibility of a lot more being accepted this year, you could get lost in a shuffle. But if you also don't sell that much as well, which at the moment is pretty clear, maybe you might actually work out all right. We'll see. I think we're better off with a buy order. I'll talk more about that when we discuss the prices Wednesday night. All right. So, all right, cool. And so we are now down to talking about the knives and the AK. I will talk about the AK first. It's a perfectly fine golden AK. It's not that shiny. You might think, oh, but I can see the shine there. It's not that shiny. Consider watching my rust rotation video. See that for yourself. Also, Gold Chains Collection's a bit of a funny one. You take one quick look at this and you'll see for yourself that it's not really, it's not a very normal collection. No. Look at that. So, no armor. Even though the skin creators they have tried, no armor was accepted. It's a bit of a weird hodgepodge. And you might sit there and say, but what about the After Death AK-47? That went up in price very nicely. Yeah, but that was also removed from the Rustore and only sold like 1,700 subscribers. This right here, it's already surpassed that. Selling up $3. I just can't help but assume it will be lost in the shuffle as time goes on because there will be a lot more AK-47s. And of course, for the past 3 Rustores, what have we seen? Boom, 3 in a row. Next week, I won't be surprised if we see another one. Next week after that, I won't be surprised if we see another one. And I bet you, those will also look pretty cool and pretty interesting. And what typically happens is, oh, look, brand new AK. Sell the old one. Grab the new one. Oh, look, it's another Rustore. Oh, look, a brand new AK. That looks cool. Sell the old one. Get the new one. So, as you'll notice, the majority of these AKs are down in price pretty badly. So, yeah, be prepared for such a thing. And then we have the combat knives. Honestly, I've got nothing against them. But that one glows in the dark. Is that going to be okay? Consider watching my rust rotation video to see how bright it is at night time. But we are expecting more combat knives next week and the week after that. It is the focused item of the month. We've got 2 this Rustore. Next week, probably we'll see another 2. Maybe, we'll see. But at the very least, I am expecting 2 more with the upcoming extra January Rustores this month. So, what do you reckon? Well, with previous focused items of the month many of those skins have dropped off real bad. And we're going to be referencing that again because we have an L96 there to talk about. But with what we see here, by all means, if you like it, buy it, use it, enjoy it, support the skin creators. You might sit there and say, but combat knives, look at them. The majority of them are doing very nicely. Yes, because they're accepted years ago, and for a very long time, we just didn't see that much more being accepted. It's very likely going to end up being like the miner hats. They come out, initially they look pretty interesting, but as more and more and more appear, suddenly they all go down in price. So, yeah, I think you're better off with a buy order. Now, I'll save this one for last because I'm not really sure how to approach it. This one's like an interesting sort of wild card. Let's call it that. It is the lowest selling skin as of now. It's also the collection continuation to the SAR. Now, I was under the impression Delarai was going to actually try and intend to make more transparent aim sight skins. He made the L96. Okay, well, could we see like an MP5 or a Thompson or something? A revolver, a Python? Like, take the chance whilst you can, Delarai. Take the chance. Because there will be problems. We might not see a HellCore skin for quite some time. I'll explain that in a second. But yes, if this does still develop more and more, if we do keep seeing more HellCore skins being produced and made, could it end up being the Heatseeker collection of 2026? So similar sort of investment, similar sort of hype. Could we see this work out well? We need to see more transparent aim sight weapons, Mr. Delarai. Now, with a sheer lack of skins, this particular L96, with a sheer lack of sales is what I should say, it might actually do quite all right with the possibility of collection continuations. But let's acknowledge, not too long ago, November 2025, the focused item of the month was the L96. Look at those skins right now. They are not looking very pretty, are they? No. We do have a decent amount of L96 skins that exist. The majority of them are down real bad. So let's just acknowledge that, yeah, that might be a bit of a problem. So we'll see how it goes. But, yeah, not sure what to think of that. Let's say it only ends up with like 8,000 or 9,000 subscribers after 7 days. You know what? Maybe that could work out. If we do also happen to see an interesting collection continuation on the workshop, oh, even better. But we've got to wait and see what the sales look like. And again, it's annoying because we don't have abnormals this week. So, oh. So overall, I know it was a bit of a yapping session, but I do hope I've put the warnings out there. I know quite a lot of them are very similar, but that's Rust. All right? It's very routine. Do not be surprised. Okay. So let's talk about what to expect in the near future. For February Force Wipe, we are expecting the naval update. So let's just kind of get this on a calendar for you. So can I get a calendar, please? Thank you. Right. So, February. The Force Wipe is going to be on the 5th of February. It's expected that we're only going to see naval-themed skins being accepted because, of course, they're submitted months ago. Facepunch just said, oh, we'll just move them ahead. Okay, so, all right, cool. But February 12th, what happens around then? Oh, yeah, Valentine's. Wow. But also, and it happened in 2024, it looks like it'll happen again, Lunar New Year is basically around the same time, the 17th of February. What is going to happen with the Rust stores of the 12th and the 19th? If it's like 2024, what will likely happen is we'll probably see Lunar New Year skins or Valentine skins first. Then over the weekend, we'll see the extra batch being accepted, whether it's Lunar New Year or Valentine's, we'll see. Like, we might see the Lunar New Year skins appear on the 17th, and we'll have the Valentine's Rust store on the 12th. Or we'll have the Lunar New Year skins on the 12th, and the Valentine skins will be added on the Saturday. Or they all just get bunched together for a big Rust store on the 12th. Or either way, Valentine's or Lunar New Year first, and then the other one appears after. And then on the 19th, we'll get like a small Rust store with just like an extra batch of supplementary skins. So please be aware, February 5, 12, and 19 might be a bit funny. And also, considering that a lot of naval themed skins were submitted, you might see them being like appearing on the 19th or the 26th. So, like in regards to like HellCore collection and whatnot, okay, that might be a bit funny. So if you're a skin creator and you notice you don't get that many skins accepted in February, don't be too surprised. But do try to put a decent effort in with your Valentine's and Lunar New Year skins. If you're wondering what's the special animal for Lunar New Year 2026, it's the Year of the Horse. Are we going to see the return of the Lunar New Year pack? Oh, we're going to get a horse mask. Oh, we're going to get a horse mask. We're going to get a horse mask. We're going to get a horse mask. Is it going to look like that? Is it going to look like that? Would you be happy if we got something like that? It'll probably be like a much more detailed and proper sort of design. No, give me that horse mask. Okay, cool. So we're aware of what to expect in the near future. However, what DLC, I mean, it's quite literally there, isn't it? What DLC do we reckon is going to appear? Well, it looks like the next DLC is going to be the Artist Pack DLC. It is being worked on non-stop as of now, so I'm very much under the impression with the February Force Swipe, we're going to see the Artist Pack DLC being introduced. And for the people sitting there wondering about the Boxes DLC, I'm under the impression it's going to be the March special DLC. Which is fine, especially for the people trying to sell their storage collection skins at the moment. Currently panicking about what's going on in regards to the Boxes DLC. I'm just trying to find that Boxes DLC at the moment, because they did add a bunch of mentions today. Well, Protox mentioned it. They've addressed several names already for their storage collection, and they've just mentioned meds right there. So they've mentioned like scrap, components, metal, wood, food. Like, they're building a storage collection. Is it small boxes? Is it large boxes? We don't know, and that's why people are kind of upset. So we'll see what becomes of that, but it does not look like that's going to be for February. This looks like it's going to be for March. So right then, we'll see what becomes of that. And now, let's talk about what to expect potentially for February, because what do we see right over to here? It appears that the SKS will become skinnable soon. Considering we did not have a brand new skinnable for January 2026, which was a bit of a surprise to me, it looks like we're going back into the routine. February 2026, very likely could see the SKS become skinnable, and that's going to be weird because the rust stores for that month are going to be convoluted. Pink, heart-covered SKS, yes please. Horse-themed SKS, I guess. So we'll see what becomes of that, but yes, SKS is on the horizon. Cool. Now, I know there's a guy up there that constantly keeps asking about why don't we have small backpack skins yet? Because they haven't made them skinnable. I'm pretty sure it'll become skinnable at some point in the near future over the course of this month. Yeah. Can't imagine this month. So, yeah. Face Punch is deciding what to make a brand new skinnable for every month. And SKS is maybe for February, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's for February. So, all right, cool. Understood. So, I hope you're fully well aware of what's happening in the near future. And hope you're enjoying yourself at this moment in time. I know this was a bit of a late upload, but at the very least, it's nice to just get like that extra late sort of insight just to see how the sales are holding up. No Mercy Tactical Gloves definitely look like they're going to go over 10,000 subscribers when it's the first 24 hours of sales. So maybe that might be getting fairly close to 30,000 subscribers. We shall see. So, all right, always keep an eye on scmm.app and Rust Help, and you'll always stay informed. And I should also point out, if we could just go to here, yes, I'm starting to see some Valentine skins being submitted. Yes, I'm also seeing some regular skins being submitted. So, as you'll see after here, we have the Deep Ruby Furnace. We also happen to have the Ace of Hearts glow-in-the-dark sheet metal door. So, yeah, Valentine skins are going to appear over the course of this weekend. Next weekend, most likely as well. But we should also anticipate Lunar New Year skins as well. So if you're wondering, Hedge, what's going on with your Rust Workshop skin checks, I might just be yapping about Valentine skins. And then after that, Lunar New Year skins. I'll be all right with that. I'll be fine. So, all right, cool. So anything else to address? Well, if you're wondering, how come you are so confident? Oh, that blinded me. How come you're so confident to jump in and buy 200 tactical gloves and 100 SARs? Well, if you want to go ahead and watch this video, listen to what I say. Like, more specifically, maybe just skip ahead 53 minutes in and just listen to me for about 20 minutes as I talk about my confidence, my expectations for the year. Like, I know some of you might be surprised I didn't jump on and buy a bunch of the garage doors. Well, considering Valentine's is next month, I am expecting a lot more anime-themed skins to be produced. Garage doors notably, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I did buy a lot. I'm not upset with what I've done. And if you want to be aware of all the recent skins that are submitted to the Rust Workshop, feel free to go ahead and look at my Rust Workshop skin checks for January 13, 2026. All collection continuations are chaptered, except the farming clothes, which I didn't realise was a collection continuation. Yep, farming, hoodie and pants. Consider giving that a good watch. So, right, that's pretty much everything. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoy these short videos that I do now for Rust Rotations. A quick 60 seconds just to quickly show what the skins look like. Cool. So that's it. That's it. Catch you later. See you. Goodbye.